Now that's what I call a good burger. Hi, my name is Yujin, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's brand new, this is my first video, and I think I'm going to put more of a focus on vegan/pescatarian recipes. I personally am pescatarian, which means that I eat fish, and everything else that I eat is plant-based. So there will be a lot of vegan tutorials and hopefully pescatarian recipes as well following this video. So I decided to start this YouTube channel because I wanted to share some of my hobbies on YouTube, and one of my hobbies happens to be looking at different recipes and following them and seeing if there's anything really good that I can share with my friends and family. So if you have any suggestions on what recipes that I can follow, I'm looking for some really unique ones as well. I'd be happy to look at those, and hopefully we'll be able to follow up with a video. So without further ado, I want to introduce the two recipes that I'm going to follow today, and one of them is by Caitlin Shoemaker, who has a recipe blog called From My Bowl, and I'm following her chickpea chicken salad sandwich recipe today, where she makes chicken salad filling for a sandwich but with chickpeas instead of chicken. And I'm also going to follow a virtual vegan black bean burger recipe. Without further ado, let's go.
So first you'll take 2 cans or 4 cups of chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans, drain and wash them, and then mash them to your desired consistency with a fork. I mashed mine so that about 50% of them were mashed. You'll want to dump these into a big bowl. I didn't have one, so I just put them into a pot. Then you'll add some diced red onions. I used about half of an onion, and 4 stalks of thinly sliced celery into the bowl. Then you'll put about a cup of vegan mayo, either store-bought or homemade. I made mine using the recipe in the description box. It's super easy, you just blend lemon juice or vinegar, oil, and a non-dairy milk alternative until it's nice and thick. Then you'll add some Dijon mustard. I didn't have any, so I mixed some regular mustard with agave syrup and stirred that in. Then we'll add a generous squeeze of lemon juice. You can use fresh lemons, but I like the convenience of using the bottled kind. The recipe calls for some slivered almonds, but I didn't have any, so I used sunflower seeds instead. And then I added some dried cranberries to the mixture, but you can add fresh grapes or raisins instead if you'd like. Then I added the poultry seasoning, which is just a mix of sage, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, nutmeg, and black pepper. Then I added some black pepper, dill relish, which I thought would be a good match for this recipe even though it wasn't really a part of it, and mixed that all up. I also added a little bit more agave syrup because I felt the mixture needed a bit more sweetness. But you can adjust the mustard and sugar levels according to your preference.
Alright, so before I start plating my sandwich and my hamburger, I'm going to actually make some sweet potato fries. I started by cutting 1 sweet potato into these sort of half an inch thick pieces, and we're just going to drizzle some olive oil over it first, and then we'll take some onion powder and we'll sprinkle some of that over, and then we'll take some paprika and we'll sprinkle some of this as well. And we're sprinkling about equal amounts of each spice. We're going to take some black pepper and we're just going to grind this over the sweet potatoes. And then we'll take some salt and we'll sprinkle some of this over the potatoes as well. So we're gonna make sure that this is all nice and coated with all of the ingredients that we just put in. And so while that's baking, I want to go ahead and start preparing my sandwich. So we'll take 2 pieces of this Nature's Own 100% whole wheat bread. You don't have to use whole wheat bread. I just got whatever I liked and whatever was cheapest at the grocery store because I'm broke right now. We'll take 2 pieces of this bread. Yeah, if you have a toaster, go ahead and use that. I don't have a toaster, so I'm going to go ahead and put these on a frying pan so that I can get the sides golden and toasty. And since it's a pretty big sandwich, I'm going to actually put my salad on the side instead of onto the sandwich itself. Great. Salad next to it. I like to put bell peppers and iceberg lettuce and cucumbers into my salads. You can put in anything you want to, really. Okay, so now the time has come to finally try my beautiful sandwich. Look at that. I made a pretty small sandwich because my toast was pretty small, but you could probably make a bigger one. One more bite. So I really like that. So the sandwich itself is really hearty because of all the chickpeas you have in there, and there are so many different flavors going on. I think mostly because of the poultry seasoning that I added in and the mustard. I didn't have Dijon mustard, so I tried to make my own Dijon mustard, which was just like honey mustard kind of. So the taste is probably a little bit different from the original recipe. Of course, the chickpeas don't actually taste like chicken, but you get that creaminess from the chickpeas, from the mashed ones, and then you get that nice textural difference with the whole chickpeas. And you also get this nice sort of like popping acidity from the red onions that you have in here. And I think I would use slivered almonds next time I make this recipe. And I might try it with grapes instead of just dried cranberries, because I felt like there was a little bit of sweetness missing. And it'd be nice to just add that sort of crunchy but moist texture to this sandwich. But other than that, I think it's a really good dish if you want to try it out. I do like the addition of celery in there, even though I don't usually like celery. I think it adds a really nice crunch. Now that's good. I really like the addition of onion powder and paprika. You can definitely taste this spiciness that comes from the paprika and the black pepper, but it's not so spicy that you'll have bowel problems the next day like me when I eat spicy things. They're definitely not crunchy. So if you're looking for a crunchy sweet potato fry recipe, this is not it. I would maybe consider using cornstarch to sort of bread the sweet potato fries beforehand if you are looking for something really crunchy. But I really like this because, you know, the sweet potatoes are cooked really well through, and you have this nice like oniony, sort of savory but also sweet combination, and there's that spicy kick to it too.
So first we'll mash some black beans together. I used a little bit more than 1 can of beans, rinse them, and mash them with a fork. Then I added about 4 tablespoons of flaxseed. You can use breadcrumbs instead. I would actually add maybe twice or 3 times the amount to prevent your patties from being too mushy. Then you'll add some onion powder, some cumin, some paprika, black pepper, and a bit of salt. You'll also add 4 green onions after cutting them into thin slices, a generous squeeze of lime juice. The recipe calls for the juice of 1 lime, but I would add a bit less, especially if you're using the bottled kind like I am. And then you'll mix this all up until it forms a homogeneous paste. And then you'll form patties with your hands to fit the size of your buns. This recipe should make about 4 patties.
All right, so it is sort of a handful to eat, but All right, so I have to say the texture is very mushy, even though the description said that it wasn't going to be mushy. And I wonder if that's because I didn't bake it and because I pan-fried it instead, or if I didn't fry it long enough. The texture is not really meat-like, but of course that wasn't expected or wanted when I made this. I do wish it were a little less mushy, so it'd be easier to eat. Aside from that though, the flavor of the patty is actually very, very distinct, even though I have all of the sauce on it. So it's very, very zesty, like the description says. And I really love the addition of the 4 green onions because it gives this sort of mushy texture, textural balance, and a nice crunch, and makes it taste even more fresh. And I also love the addition of red onions. I think I would have liked maybe Thousand Islands or tomatoes to add to the acidity of this and maybe change the flavors a little bit. I don't know if my teriyaki sauce goes all that well with this burger, but I would definitely make this again. I do want to try out different black bean burger recipes. So if you have any good ones, please tell me in the comments below. And yeah, this is really good. I would suggest that you make it if you want an alternative to hamburger meat, which is known to be not very good for you. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any suggestions as to what you want to see in my future videos on this channel, please feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to hearing from you and hopefully seeing you again.